Welcome, welcome, welcome.
Well, hello,
Come
hello,
on
hello.
in. Yes, welcome to B to the Third Power, where we are being intentional, bridging gaps, and building community.
Yes.
Listen, we have so missed you guys so much.
Yeah.
So good to see you all. You know what to do. Go on and show us some love. Make sure you join the conversation in the comments. And because we have some phenomenal guests on here tonight, we want to make sure you guys share, share, share. So love, like, and share. Be kind and share because I promise you there's someone that needs to hear what our guests are going to have to say tonight. And Trey and T. Lynn don't know them, but guess who does? You do. So go on and make sure that you're sharing. And while you're doing that, share bear.
Yes.
How is your day?
My day was busy. It was extremely busy with the 9 to 5. But you know what? I made it through, and when I log off of here, I've still got some work to do. So it's been one of those days, but it's okay.
I was to say, but that's the life right now, right? I mean, don't
Yeah.
get me wrong. You still have to practice self-care, but you have some amazing things going on, and your mind is like on overdrive with all that you're doing. So I'm not
Yeah.
surprised that you're knocking it down and spending your non 9 to 5 hours still making things happen. So
Yes, indeed. Always, always.
yeah.
How was your day? I know you spent most of the day not feeling well, so what's
I
going on?
did. Well, I did. I implemented what I just said, some self-care, and I was getting some rest. But I couldn't let our viewers down. I couldn't let you down. So I had to pull myself together so I can get on here tonight and celebrate with you. But I'm doing pretty good. I'm doing pretty good. Anything interesting happen in your week that you want to tell us about?
You know, you always remember. um, I don't think so.
Oh, okay. I was
My
just
birthday?
checking this time. Did we was your birthday this
No, my
week?
birthday was
Your
no.
birthday was
That
last.
was a week.
Yeah.
That was last week. Yeah.
I was about to say, but we celebrated it. And we
I'm still
celebrated.
celebrating though.
Oh,
I'm
okay.
still celebrating.
As you should. Listen, I told them once you hit, well, no offense to the 30s. I would have said this in my 30s, but I'm a little older now. But once you hit 40, baby, guess what? I know I don't even look a day over 29. I know. But
Mhm.
when you get into your 40s, you celebrate the whole month. It's not just the day. You celebrate the entire month.
And
That's how
you
you
know, I've
celebrate.
never been a big birthday celebrator. And I think I mentioned this on one of the other shows because my birthday is in February. And
Mhm.
it's so hard to plan for my birthday because of the weather. So I've really just never really been big on celebrating. I love the day. I appreciate the day. And, you know, 9 times out of 10, I'm usually at work. Or if work is canceled because of the snow, that's my birthday gift, right? So
Right.
I've really never been a big celebrator for my birthday, but I do agree, like, and I don't ever hesitate on telling how old I am. Somebody said over the last time I was talking about it, they were like, "You're just telling people you're 46?" Yeah, because listen,
I
like
know.
every year that I'm
It's a
blessed to be
blessing.
here, like,
Yes,
what? Are you serious? Yes, I tell people, yes, I'm 46. I made it. Hello. But
absolutely.
yeah, you do celebrate a little bit different. You appreciate it a little bit longer. So
And
yeah.
I'm like, because the older we get, the more we start to see those that we came along with, pass away. And so it's like it's an honor because there's some people that didn't even make it to see 46,
Yeah.
43, 44, 45.
Yes.
Some of them didn't even
Yeah.
get to live to see 35. So
Yeah.
right now I'm definitely celebrating, and I'm glad you're taking a different stance because I had to learn that every day that you're here is a blessing. So when it's your day, I call it my personal national holiday.
That's
That's what I
right.
have.
That's
Yeah.
right.
And I
And you know
celebrate
my
the whole month.
and you know my best friend, remember, she passed away on her birthday.
Yes.
So it's always been, it brings me a little bit of anxiety. around my birthday. But I definitely know that every day that I'm here, every day that we are blessed to be here, you know what I mean, is a day to celebrate, because you
Absolutely.
do not guarantee to be here. One minute we were texting, and the next minute there was nothing, you know.
Yep.
So I definitely make a point now to just celebrate and show thanks for every day that I'm given, because you're not guaranteed to be here. So
Nope.
yeah, I'm definitely looking at things a little bit differently at 46, you know. So
Absolutely. Absolutely. And look, the party continues because we're talking about birthdays, honey, in just a couple of weeks. Well, no, I'm sorry. Starting Monday, my
uh-huh.
personal national holiday celebration
Yeah.
begins.
Uh-huh.
Woo! So I'm excited. Yes. And I also look like I'm frozen at the same time. It's the
You
gift of a
are, but
live
I can
show.
still hear you though.
It's okay. As long as you can hear me, my face can stay like that all day long, as long as you can hear my beautiful voice.
Right, right.
But anyway, we have an amazing, amazing show for you guys tonight. We have two wonderful guests, one joining us from abroad and one joining us from the other side of the United States. Yes, baby, I told you we are national and global. We're bringing
Yes.
you good information from all over the world. And I'm excited to be talking to them both. We have with us Miss, I always say it with my
Shalini.
accent, so Shalini and
Shalini.
Shalini Nag, and we have Ella Kushnir joining us today. We are talking about self-leadership, loving yourself, diversity and inclusion, and some more stuff. So, baby, you don't want to miss this show tonight, because I promise you there's going to be something in it for you. But before we can get to our first guest, you know what we got to do. We got to go on and let Foundation have a little bit of time and give us a good old tune. This is B to the Third Power, and we'll be right back on the other side of this brief break. Welcome back to B to the Third Power. Listen, we have an exciting guest coming up with us. We are so excited. Sherry and I talk to her at least, what, 2 to 3 times a week now, Sherry. We get to
Right.
sit in and chat with her um, just about different topics. She is very big on women's empowerment, y'all, and she brings some great guests, some great content, and we definitely felt like she would be a great guest to bring you guys fantastic information as well. And she is none other than Dr. Shalini Nag. Welcome.
Hi, everyone. Hi,
Hello, how are
Dylan.
you?
I'm
Hi.
doing well.
It's so
Hi.
good to see you outside of the clubhouse.
I know we can actually see each other and not just
Yes.
hear each other, right?
Right.
Right. Listen, I said I'm so sorry because I always pronounce your name with my little accent, and so I'm gonna just stick to Dr. Nag. Not Nag. Did I say it right? Say your name for me.
No,
Dr.
Shalini
Nog.
and Nog.
Shalini
Think
Nog.
eggnog. Think eggnog.
Nog. There you go. It's Dr. Nog, y'all. So,
Dr. No.
Dr. Nog, tell us a little bit about yourself.
What would you like to know? Because there's so much.
I know that's right.
We talk about, and I'm segueing straight into my work, but you know how we always talk about identities and looking at other people, and we tend to judge very quickly. But there's so much, right, to each of us. Um,
Yes.
but we'll talk more about that later. But just get started. Right now I'm an entrepreneur. I run my own business. It's focused on creating exceptional workplace cultures because, hey, who needs to be unhappy at work, right?
Right.
And the other flip side of it is you can't really solve a problem by looking at it one way. You have to look at multiple ways. So the flip side of it is how can individuals like us actually step up our game and become better professionals, become exceptional professionals? Because if we step up our game and the companies do what they need to do, then together we can actually make magic happen, right? So
Yes.
so that's what I work on right now. Before this, I used to be a management consultant. I used to work with large Fortune 500 companies around the world, helping them with their major transformations. And before that, woohoo, that's when I used to be a scientist. And I was a biophysicist, biochemist, and I was doing research in figuring out, how a particular protein in our body actually impacts how our cells divide and grow and how our wounds heal when we get hurt and so on. So that's a little bit of how I got to where I am. But there's more. Like I said, there's quite a bit. Started my journey in a small-ish, what I call a small town in India, but compared to the US, it would probably be, I think the population is the same as where I am right now, which is Milwaukee, Wisconsin. And I went to Singapore for several years. I did my undergraduate and my PhD there, and then I moved to the US, and I've been here for almost 10 years now.
Awesome.
Awesome. I must say that you're right. We do wear many hats, and it's always good to get familiar with people because it's good to know that people are people, right? Even though
Yeah.
we're entrepreneurs and we're motivators and we're all of this behind, we're people and we have diverse backgrounds and everything. So I'm really looking forward to the conversation with you today.
Me
Absolutely.
too. And then some of us have birthdays, right? February birthdays, I heard.
Almost their birthday.
Yeah,
Yes.
happy birthday.
Thank you. So
Absolutely.
tell me more about the equity, diversity, and inclusion work that you worked with.
So, to me, equity and inclusion are just core to everything that we need to do. It's unfortunate that more often than not, when I talk to companies, it's like they have a diversity initiative, or they have a diversity approach, or they have a temporary diversity like 2-year plan or something. For me, equity and inclusion are just how we need to be as humans, because the underlying concept of equity is that everyone should have what they need to succeed. So it's what you need to succeed. So a lot of this is another area where there's a lot of confusion. People say, hey, why we are going for equality, right? We have equality, that's what we should go for. But in fact, what we need is equity, because we don't start from a level playing field. So if you don't start from a level playing field, how can equality really help? And so for me, equity is really something where we are looking at how do I give me what I need, give Teelan what Teelan needs. Like if it's Teelan's birthday today, right? We need to give her a party. If it's my, like, I don't know, 25th anniversary, you need to give me something else, right? It's not the same thing depending on who we are and where we are coming from. And so for me, equity is really important. And my first exposure to equity was really as a child. So I went to a missionary school. And of course, one of the things we did as children was learn how to give back to society. And what we were doing was, even though we were in grade school, I think I was in the 5th grade, we had this foundation that we were working with called Asha Kiran, which means ray of hope. And the idea was that we'd learn something in class, and then we'd actually go back and teach other underprivileged kids whatever we learned. So it was spreading education. And there was this kid that I was working with. He loved maths. He loved mathematics, and he was so good at it that I couldn't keep up. Like I had to learn, and then I had to do extra homework just to keep up with his questions and be able to teach him. And to me, that was the first indication of how talent doesn't choose where it is, where it exists, but the access that we provide people actually makes a difference to who's going to be successful and who won't. So to me, that's like one of the big, and because it happened so young, I suppose, it's one of the things that has been with me like all my life.
Wow.
Yeah,
Can I say something real quick, T?
you absolutely
It's
can.
funny that you brought up something that you did in elementary school and how that works. Thinking, I remember in school we used to have pen pals, and
Yes.
we used to write letters to our pen pals. And my teacher used to always tell me, like, you always write the most inspiring letters to your pen pal. And I just remembered that. Like, wow, and look what I do. You know what I mean? Like, that's what I do. I encourage people, I motivate people. Well, I've been doing this for a while. I didn't even remember that until you mentioned something about doing something with your elementary school. That is so true. And they don't do that anymore in school. Do they do that now, T?
Well, actually, Samaj did do a letter recently. They did have pen pals, but I'm not really sure where their pen pals came from, when they were learning the proper format for a letter. But what I love about what Dr. Nog said was that they were training them at such a younger age to give back,
Yeah. To
like,
give
and
back.
then even the lessons that she learned from just give, like, you're right, access is key. Like you said so many things, there's at least 3 points in there that I could pull out, but you're absolutely right. Access is key because you can have all the talent in the world, but if you're never given access to the things that you need in order for that to flourish, then it just goes dormant and kind of dies off to a degree. You know what I mean? And training, and Sherry and I talk about this all the time. Like, it does start with nurturing them up to train them, you know, how you first of all looking at what their potential gifts are, because her son had great gifts in robotics, and she looks back now and like, man, I wish. And I tell her all the time, I sit down with my son and I look at the things that he's good at, and I'm like, how can I nurture this to grow, and like you said, give access. So access is a big key even now in order to the dynamics. And diversity, equity, and inclusion is a very, very hot topic these days because everyone's looking at how to do it. But the biggest key that you gave, and I 100% agree with you, is it starts with you. It starts
Mm.
with you. It starts with you doing the inward work, and then you looking at how you can use whatever position you're in life. If you're in management, if you own your own business, if you are a trainer, whatever your position is, starting from there to make your impact and to make your footprint and to help with this, like using your position to be able to move the ball forward. So you just gave a whole bunch of juicy stuff, and so I'm gonna be quiet and let Sherry talk for a little bit.
I love what you just said there, Teelan, because recently I was giving a talk, and the example that I gave, because I'm out in Milwaukee, and of course it's been snowing, and of course there's salt on the snow, is that, each of us is like a grain of salt. All we need to do is melt the snow around us. And then when
Mhm.
three grains of salt, like the three of us, end up in the same space, we create a clearing that's bigger than each of ours. And so on
Yeah.
and so on it goes, right? And essentially it's what Gandhi said, in terms of, if we change the tendencies within us, the world around us will change. And so
Yes.
it's been translated now to say, be the change that you want to see, but essentially it does begin with us.
Yes.
And I think that's the core, like the absolute core of inclusion, is that inclusion begins with us understanding that we don't know it all, We
Yes.
don't have all the perspectives. So we need to be open to hearing other perspectives, to respecting other worldviews, to respecting other ways of getting the same outcome. Because for
Mhm.
us, I mean, I only can see, what's in front of me. I can't see what's behind me. If you're sitting face to
Mhm.
face, you can see what's behind me. But if I don't
Right.
ever listen to you, I won't listen to the warnings you give me. I won't learn anything about what's around me. And the same thing is true, right? So it really does begin with us. And it begins with a humility that we don't know everything. We can't know everything, everyone or everything.
Right.
I agree. I
Absolutely.
totally agree. And it comes with being open-minded and wanting to know and learn and grow. Like I often say on our show, is that every day you should be learning something new. Every day. I don't care what that is. You should be learning something new. And if you're not learning something new, even if it's just about life, if it's in your industry, if it's in your job, if it's about your children, I don't care what it is. You should be learning something new to apply within your life every single day. So, and a lot of times I think that when you talk about equity and diversity and inclusion, a lot of people are so close minded that they don't see anything else but what they
Yeah.
know. So it's that struggle to getting through that, well, no, you can't talk to people like this. No, you can't, you know what I mean? You can't make people feel uncomfortable. You can't, that's not the right way to do things.
Right.
I agree with you. I agree with you completely. And I think you hit the nail on the head when you said we need to be ready to learn, because
Hmm.
learning and growing happens through discomfort. So we
Hmm.
have to be ready to be uncomfortable. We have to be ready to be wrong. We have to be ready to
Yeah.
understand that maybe I wasn't right, or I wasn't best, or maybe somebody knew something. And as long as, so I think there's an interlink there between letting go of our fear of being judged, but also
Hmm.
creating a space where we don't judge others for whatever worldview or lived experience they have. Because I think, more and more the world around us and the conversations around us are getting polarized. Right? We want to be in our echo chambers and just listen to everybody who agrees with everything we say. And that doesn't help anybody.
Yeah.
It doesn't help those who are on one side of the spectrum or the other. It doesn't help those who are like citizens versus immigrants. It doesn't help those who are white versus African American or South Asian. It doesn't help any of us when we
Right.
don't talk to each other and listen to each other.
Hmm.
So true. So true. And it's some behavior, like you said, with being uncomfortable, some behavior has been taught that needs to be corrected. You know what I mean? A lot of things that we do comes out of us being creatures of habit. And
Hmm.
so because this person taught it, my mama always did it this way and my grandmama always did it that way, so my mama did it that way and now I do it that way and I teach my children to do it that way because that's what I've always been taught. But it doesn't necessarily make it right. But you're so right that if you are not willing to be uncomfortable and look at it or listen to all sides of the conversation to make an informed decision, then you may be in incorrect behavior and never even know it, or never to acknowledge it to correct your behavior. And I feel like that's what happens a lot with us, is what you said. We're so comfortable being in this generational thing, this generational line of this is how it's always been, that no one is thinking outside the box, or not that many, because there are some that are thinking, but not that many are thinking outside the box. They're just staying in tradition, which is stifling their growth.
I agree. And the fun thing is, when we think about how we learn or how these behaviors change, it really changes when we meet someone and we connect with them at a human level, get to know them deeply, and then we understand what their needs are. We actually empathize and have compassion for them. That's when our behaviors change. I'll give a quick example. So I work in DI. I am very open minded. I want to be inclusive of everyone. But I think it was in November of last year that I ended up in a conversation with this gentleman out of the United States who happens to have a retinal disease, which is progressive, leading to progressive blindness. And I mean, I've never felt that I've in any way hurt somebody who happens to have a vision impairment. However, when I asked this person, how has the virtual world impacted his access or his life? He said, well, for the most part, everything is fine because he works with a text to speech converter that allows him to digest material. But what he is unable to access is images that don't have alt text in them.
Mhm.
And that one conversation, that was probably 5 minutes of a 30-minute conversation, but I've never again posted an image on social media without all text attached to it. Because now I know someone and I've heard the story of this individual not having access to that image if I don't add all text. It's a small thing, but it ensures that everything that I post, if I post an image, that now anyone with visual impairment can actually access it, which I wasn't doing before on a consistent basis. So I think this interaction with each other and really getting to know each other and building that deep connection is very, very important for us to actually change our behaviors.
Exactly.
Absolutely. So,
Well, this
you,
conversation has been amazing.
yes, and I was going to say, so one thing that we do want to point, it seems like Clubhouse is the latest and greatest happening everywhere, but you host a group, you host a room almost every day, it seems like. And we want to make sure that people that are on Clubhouse that want to join the conversation and get to know more about the work you do can connect with you. So can you tell us quickly about your Clubhouse rooms and how people can get in contact with you?
Absolutely, happy to. So, my clubhouse room is called Women with an X Rise, and it's focused on empowering women to take ownership of being that grain of salt. So, whether it is through building their own skill set, whether it is through impacting the community around them or the leaders around them, it's really about helping them level up and get that access to the kind of coaching and support that many of them may not have in general, and also create a safe space for these conversations around how the workplace really is, how do we navigate any issues that we might be facing in the workplace, and so on. Um, my handle there, I hope I say this correctly, is at Shalini Nag. So my first name and last name, all in one. So people who are on Clubhouse can connect with me there. But I do post on social media, on LinkedIn actually, every single day. So Monday through Friday. And I provide tips and tricks on culture, on management, on leadership, and so on. And if people connect on with me on LinkedIn, they would be able to get access to all of that material and content. And finally, I would say my website, www.evidasolve.com, evidasolve.com /brilliant, has a whole bunch of my podcasts, my book link, free downloadables, and so on.
Awesome sauce. Now we know that was a pretty long web address, but don't worry, we got you guys. We'll make sure that we post it in the comments so that you guys can have access to get in contact with Dr. Shalini when you desire to. Okay. Well, Dr. Nag, we certainly thank you so much for joining us. It has been a pleasure. And as always, Sherry and I enjoy speaking with you. And I'm sure we'll talk again before the week is over. But make sure you guys go on over to her website. Again, we'll post it in the comments so that you have the exact web address to get in contact with her. But you know what it is. We got a quick break. And when we come back, we'll be sitting down with Ella Kushnir. This is
See you in the Clubhouse.
Yes. Thank you. Thanks for having me.
Welcome back to B3RD Power.
Welcome back. Welcome back to B3RD Power. When I tell you I love the Foundation Band, I
Yes, I
love
was
it.
about to say shout out to Foundation Band.
Yes, they always bring us the great tunes. But let's go ahead and continue with the show as we are going to talk with Miss Ella Kushnir now. Hello.
Yes.
Hello. Thanks
Hello.
for having me here on the show.
You are most welcome. Now, for those of you
I
who are
love
just experiencing Ella for the first time, she is an author and a speaker.
Yes, and I love your what you put in here that you stand for. It says people being real empowered. That's what you
Absolutely.
stand for.
Yes, that's right. I'm really about people being real. It's like in my personal life, in any way, because I find that's the only way to get things done in the world and attract the people that you want in your life, in your business. Because otherwise, how long can people sort of play, being someone else? Sooner or later, people are, getting tired of that, don't want to do that anymore. And that's what the problem with any relationship starts falling sour and fall apart. So, and plus, I sense it energetically. I'm just naturally sense energy with people. And if a person is trying to be someone they're not and they're trying to talk to me, I pick it up straight away. And it's not pleasant because I can't really continue conversation with them. Um, with them playing someone else, not being themselves.
Yeah.
So yeah, so you don't know. Then I learned that it's better to, and that's what from my probably grandmother. Better to hear sour truth than or bitter truth than sweet lie.
Ooh.
Because yeah, and I'm all about that, and I prefer to know the truth from a person, the honest answer, and then I can know how to go around it. So at least when a
Right.
person is honest and upfront with you, then you know, okay, this is what it is. So how we can then have some communication around that which comes in. That's why I've written my book on the topic of empowering people. Oh, that was original title was empowering people through communication, which is I've changed later on. Secrets to communicate and empower, how to become an authentic become an authentic leader that people value, trust, and respect. And it's not just leader as in a big organization where people are going after the title of being a leader. It's more about being a leader in every area of your life. Whatever you do, it's and what it. And for many years, I sort of when I was working, I didn't. I think leader, that position, and I was never going after titles, and because I thought it's not in the title, it's in what you actually do, how you
Oh,
inspire and
say
empower other
that
people.
again. Say
Yeah,
that again. Yes.
yeah, it's
It's
definitely
not.
not about the title, because people have
Yeah.
titles and they don't live up to that title, but they
No.
have the title. And then there are so many people that don't think themselves as leaders, but we're doing that, like that self leadership, which is in every area of our life. It could be a mother, it could be a teacher, it could be you're working in an organization, and you can just empower other people and inspire other people and illuminate what's the best thing in them that they don't notice, so they can grow and become, prosper within themselves and impact the outside world. So
You
Yeah.
know,
that's what I feel that that sort of that it's all
if
about.
people understood how empowering it is to walk in your truth and to be honest with
Yes.
yourself,
Yes.
we would be like 10 miles down the road, right? But people
Absolutely.
just don't get it sometimes, to just walk in your authentic you. And that means to recognize all of your flaws and all, right, Ella? Like, you have to recognize that you don't have it all together. And no degree gives you that, no certification gives you
Yeah.
that, no huge accolades give you that, but just knowing, it's different.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it's about, it all starts from within. Yes, because as we go along the journey, we've got challenges, different things come in our way. Things happen, it's life. So, and things from what's been installed in us from childhood, we don't even aware of, start coming up, start challenging us, and start running our life at the end of the day. So it is, and it's about becoming aware of all these um, um, fears, all the challenges that we face, all the sabotages that we have happening in our life. So it's becoming aware of them. But the most importantly is being accepting of that, because we cannot change what happened in the past. Whatever we've done in the past, it's the best that we can do at that moment. And it's comes back to my one of my favorites, presuppositions of NLP. We can that we cannot we done the best what we could with the information we had at that time.
Yes.
So yeah, so
I'm
it's
sorry. That
no,
makes me excited because I say that all the time. I told Sherry that I was like, people do the best they can with what they know how at that moment, and we have to
yeah,
learn how to accept that. Sometimes, you still
yeah,
have teachable moments after that, but understanding that not everyone is out to hurt you, or just to not properly in this case communicate with you. Sometimes they work with what they have.
yeah, and they have the best intention, but
Yes.
the way they can get to it, it's actually self-destructing and self-sabotaging, and they're not
Yeah.
aware of it. Even if even if they are aware of it, it became so much habitual. So it's sometimes really hard to get out, and the only way they can um, change that is when they look at it, they accept it, they forgive themselves from what happened in the past. Because a lot of the time we have all these shoes in our head, which is the voice of
Yes.
someone else, someone maybe our parents, maybe our caregivers when we were little, and they also wanted the best for us. However, that's the other voice that's sitting in their head, and they say, you should, you should. So they feel bad and they feel embarrassed and ashamed being in the situation, and so they start pushing on themselves, and that's really doing that is actually what actually stops them, because they think they should be someone else or behaving some other way,
Right.
and that doesn't let them let go and work through all these blocks that's in the way, because there's nothing in the way. It's actually everything is on the way. And it's one of my contributors that I love in the book, Dr. John DeMartini. That's what he says. There's nothing in the way. Everything is on the way. It's just finding how it's what we learn from it, how it benefits us, instead of looking on the negative side. So yeah, so I think that's a big thing for people.
So what do you think some of the major even though just based off of what you said, there's nothing that's really in the way, what are some of the things that you feel or that you've come across that people seem to think is their blockage when it comes to communicating from their authentic self? What do you think some of the blockages are?
Oh, I think there's a few, and it's a big thing. Maybe they're afraid or they're worried what other people will think of them. And I think that would be the big one, because they don't want to lose either that relationship or that connection or that business connection. And they think if they say what's really true for them, It's like even simple like that. You work in an organization and you've got your own values, and a value for you is to spend time with your family on the weekends. Yet
Right.
someone comes to you and said, can you or can you come tonight and do this, to this meeting, come on Sunday or Saturday, we're having this sort of get together. And people probably, a lot of people would probably say yes. They don't know how to say no because they're afraid of losing their position. They think they have to be certain way, especially when they go up to, executive level. And they're holding on to that. And then they start feeling lonely, and you wonder why. It's because they feel disconnected, misaligned internally, because they're not honoring who they are. And
Right.
that becomes a problem. So instead of coming back to whoever come to them and invite them, say, you know what, I really appreciate, I would love to be there, but like tonight or Sunday, it's my time that I love spending with the family, and it is very important to me. People don't want to say that because they're afraid they're going to somehow lose their status, lose their position, and they're not honoring themselves. And that's unfortunately where a lot of problems starts. People don't know how to say no to someone and honor their values, and don't know how to say yes to themselves. And it's very challenging, I understand, because we've all been brought up in such a way that, be nice, even though I don't like that person. But the parents say, yeah, but you still have to be nice to them. You still have to say hello. You still have to come and see them, So
Yes.
they will teach you to overstep yourself, overstep what you stand for, what your values. And I've been through that myself on many occasions. And that's when that happens, you stop trusting in yourself. You start believing in yourself. And when you stop trusting yourself, how can you make decisions? Then you can't make decisions. Then you become really undecisive, and you make decisions because the voice in your head is playing that negative message all the time, and creating all these fear of missing out, fear of losing
Yes.
out. Yeah.
I think that's something great that you brought up, and it even, if I just be transparent, it even tinged me a little bit over here with when you were talking about we train our children. Make sure you speak to that person, make sure you do this, and come and say this, knowing that your child may not feel a certain way about that person, like getting them to step over themselves. And I'm like, man, you're right. Because I can think of plenty of times when I'm like, no, I don't like how that person treats you, or I don't like how that person talks, or that's not, I don't really get a good feel for that person, I don't want to talk to them. But being told that's the polite thing to do, you must speak when you come into the room, you have to speak to everybody no matter how you feel. And I'm like, man, you're right, we are taught that at an early age. But I guess it's like a line between manners, so to speak, because we're taught it's manners. I don't know about you, Sherry. Were you taught the same way, where it's taught as that's good manners to do that?
Yeah. And
I was
I've learned
definitely
from
taught it was manners. I don't.
yeah,
Yeah. I believe everything needs a good balance in life.
Yeah.
So,
yeah,
as an adult, I've had where directors don't speak to you, and they just don't open their mouth. They don't greet you. They don't talk to you. But I just have always wrapped it up to that. They just don't have any good manners.
Mm. I think that's with the directors, and when they get up a bit on a certain high level, um, it's they've got this stigma. I think that they have to behave and present themselves in a certain way, and unfortunately, that's when I feel they start losing their human touch and connection, and it's probably they become so disconnected from themselves that they don't even know how to communicate, but at the same time they feel lonely. So that becomes a sort of internal conflict inside of them. And yeah, that the way if they spoke to you in a certain way, or disregarded you in a certain way, I think it's that's my opinion, is that because they don't know how to communicate with people. They've they've been running so much after getting to the certain position, achieving certain outcomes, results, money, building something. It happens even with their family, even with their partner. That's why they're trying to find a way to spend more time at work, less time with their partner, and they disconnect more and more. And then what happens is they realize, wow, what happened is like, I'm on the brink of divorce, I've got all this at stake now. So, and I completely don't know who my wife is anymore. So how can they, if they don't know who their wife is anymore, who they sleep with every day, how would they know their employees as well? Because they think in their position, they know everything. And unfortunately,
Would you say that it may be a little bit of values as well with that? Because if their value is towards their ultimate success of having that position, having that goal, having that degree, having that position, if that's what they're valuing, then they're, like you said, they're totally disconnected. Would that be the same thing?
it is it's almost like, looks like they become obsessed with that, because life has to, there is different sections, there is a different context of life, different areas of life, and we have to have the life more or less in balance. Otherwise it's like a wheel that is not round. In one area it's everything, but all other areas they're empty. So how can a car go forward with wheels like that? It's impossible to drive forward. So that's why sooner or later something else falls behind, because this is the family, this is the partner, or this is the people that work with them, which is so very important to have this genuine connection and communication. So it is about wanting to, they don't want to show up as they are not in it, maybe not the right way to say, as losers. And so they are trying to show that they are that person, that executive, that CEO that knows everything, that in control of everything, and don't want to actually show the reality of it and be honest about it and face it and do something about it, because that doesn't serve them, that doesn't make them happy, that actually isolates them.
And I was going to say, nor does it help with, because a good leader effectively is able to, when you're leading, communicate with your team, but show a human side to build your team. You know what I mean?
That's so, it's so very important.
So it's like when you're constantly that you know everything and you don't give the human side, it's okay. To me, a good leader will admit to what they know and what they don't know, and it brings the human side. I'm trying to figure out how to sum all this up, but it brings that human side where, my team knows that, okay, she is a human and she does care, but sometimes I think you're absolutely right that the higher positions you go, although you should change as you elevate in leadership, your communication style should change because it's an elevation. However, you still have to keep a humanistic side to you and remember that not only are you a leader, you are there to be in support of your team. You are there to lead your team and set an example. So if you set an example as a person that can't communicate, then you continue to breed people that can't communicate, or you harbor people that can't communicate and continue to tear apart your team. And so you have to show that human side. You have to learn how to communicate as a good leader. I believe that's what you've been saying the whole time, because otherwise, Sherry and I have seen it time and time again. It starts with your leadership. If your leadership is treating everyone like trash, then the next person that's under them is going to feel like they can treat everybody like trash. And then your whole team falls apart because there's no cohesiveness. There's no trust in one another. There's no, like you said, no good communication, because people are showing up in a way that is, well, it may be authentic for them to be mean, but I mean, it's not helping
Yeah.
your team.
Well, you know what, T? You know we know for sure, and I'm sure Ella has come across several, and I'm sure Shalini has come across several who are just bad at having positive communication or effective
Yeah.
communication. Period. But you know what, Ella, this conversation has been amazing. And in like 2 minutes or so, can you tell us anything that you're currently working on? How people can get in touch with you and drop us a jewel or gem for our viewers?
Yeah, yeah. I'm actually working at the moment on a new program. It's sort of for women, and I've actually honoring my original skills, which is in business, which I have been in business before. Been very, very successful, and I'm a bit of dishonor that part. So I'm actually adding it on. Some business skills, especially what I found that I'm doing it myself at the moment, rebranding, is to create the authentic branding. And this is I think something amazing that opened my eyes a lot on that, opened my eyes on that, because that's actually understanding who you are, understanding your archetypes, and your business archetypes. It's really, really revealing and illuminating to understanding and to feeling, yes, this is exactly who I am, this is exactly where I'm going. So and by that, creating the brand that attract your own unique brand, that speaks to the right people outside in the world, that will attract them as easily, and you will feel aligned with that as well. So this is something I'm working on at the moment. So this is something big that's sort of coming out of it. Because I think to become that conscious leader, you need to understand other aspects in your business as well. And I've seen so many that don't know anything about their business, and they just, if they are leaders, they think that's all they need to do. But they need to understand the bigger picture as well. So to get in touch with me, I'm running a Facebook group called Conscious Leaders Hub, and also I've got my page on LinkedIn, and I've got my public figure on Facebook as well. My book is available on Amazon, my physical book, or you can get a digital version on my website. My website is www.ellakushnir.com, and just go into shop and you can purchase the book, or you can contact me directly, email me, or directly contact me on through the Facebook Messenger or LinkedIn Messenger. Yep. So, and you guys have probably all the links, because it's probably too long to say them here.
Absolutely.
So, yeah, thank you so much for having me here.
You are very welcome, and thank you
us.
so much for joining us. Yes, and definitely we will post both Ella and Dr. Shalini's information again in the chat for all of you guys to be able to go over and connect with them for sure. Ella, we thank you so much for joining us again tonight and for sharing with us about effective authentic communication as well. And we certainly hope to chat with you again in the very near future.
Thank you. It will be my pleasure.
Awesome. Thank you. All right, guys. Well, we you know how it is. Time always seems to fly when we're having fun. Definitely, we have had fun tonight talking about effective communication and effective ways to for DEI. I couldn't even find a sentence, y'all. But for effective ways to be inclusive, and that was a great take that she gave, Sherry, just about the level playing field to begin with. Just another way to look at it. First, you got to have equity, right? Yes. So that has been absolutely amazing. Make sure you guys go on over to YouTube as well. Check out our YouTube channel. It is the B3RD Power. That's B3RD Power channel on YouTube. We'll be soon loading some very great information and things over there that you'll only be able to access if you're on YouTube. And while you're there, make sure you not only visit us, but subscribe and hit that bell. And while you're at it, if you're here watching us tonight, make sure you go ahead and hit the like and share the love, baby. Somebody out there needs some of the information that we shared tonight. You know who they are, and of course the only way they're going to get it is if you share. Sherry,
Yeah, and I want to definitely let people know that we are looking for you. Okay, we are
absolutely.
looking for you. So if you are a game changer out here, or you are doing something positive within the community, we are looking for you. Everybody has a voice, and everybody has a story, and so we are open to hearing how you would like to contribute to the show. So make sure that you send us an email to b3rdpower@gmail.com. That's b3rdpower@gmail.com. Don't forget that B3rd Power are definitely out here looking for game changers. And you can
Yes,
also nominate game changers for our B3rd Power Community of Champion Awards that will be held this year in September. Of course, look forward to that information. T,
coming
I'm
really,
really
really
excited.
soon.
I am, and the website is going to be updated soon with that nomination form. But
Absolutely.
I'm really excited about September, and it's only March. I mean, it's only February.
I know. I know. Would listen. I get tongue tied because it was such an amazing event last year to be able to do and honor those that are game changers in the community, and now we have even a wider net of
Yeah,
people that will be nominated, and I'm excited to see this. You know what I mean? Because
yeah,
not only are we able to honor them, but we're able to actually share with the world the marvelous work that they are doing to make a positive impact in their community by being intentional, bridging gaps, and building community, because that's what it is all about. Using your life and your story to make your footprint in this world and to help others have a
Mhm.
better quality of life. And
Yeah.
so I'm
You know,
excited.
my favorite part of the award show, when you like when BET would do like awards and everything. My favorite part of the award show is when they would bring up somebody from the community. You know,
Yeah,
because
yeah,
celebrities are not the only people that are out here doing amazing
making a
work. And I'm
difference.
gonna just be
No,
honest with you, because you know I give real talk, and I'm gonna just be honest with you. Some of the artists didn't even deserve it. I ain't lying. Okay, with the images that they're portraying out there to the community, some of them didn't even need an award. Hello, let me just be honest with you. But yeah, when you're on the grassroots, and you're doing out here in the community, and you're doing amazing
yes,
things to move people ahead in a positive light, and to build people up and build communities, like, let's recognize those people, right? Let's make
absolutely.
sure that we're letting folks know behind the keyboard that there are people out here that are doing amazing things. So
Yes.
that's why I'm so pumped about it, because that's what our show stands for: being intentional, bridging gaps, and people that are building communities.
Absolutely. And like Sherry said, we want to know if you know somebody that is making a great impact in their community, let us know. Email us at b3rdpower@gmail.com. We want to know. We want to honor our community leaders and advocates that are doing great things to help build, like she said, you're being intentional about what you're doing. You're helping to bridge those gaps, whatever it is, whether it's relationships, community relations, home relations, whatever it is you're doing, and building your communities. We want to know. So make sure
That's right.
you hit us up at b3rdpower@gmail.com. Don't miss this opportunity to honor our heroes, okay? Our community heroes. Don't miss
Heroes.
the opportunity, right?
That's right.
But anyway, our time is up. We've had a magnificent time. Thank you so much again to Dr. Shalini Nog and Ella Kushner for joining us tonight. It has been such a great conversation. Remember, you can, we're going to post all of their information in the comments as well, so you guys can reach out. If you want to go get the book by Ella Kushner about empowered communication, you will give you that information. You can get that also on Amazon, as well as if you want to connect with Dr. Nog on Clubhouse to take part of the conversation for women rising. All right. But as always, time flies. We're having fun. Remember, today is a fantastic day to make a difference in the lives of those around you. I'm T-Lynn Tate.
And I'm Sherry Cook.
And this has been B to the Third Power. You guys have a phenomenal week, and we'll see you next Monday.
Yes.